on a personal level, after all this incredible work that you put into this successful execution of mission, how long afterwards were you able to tell Donna that you were basically sitting there helping execute the mission with the President of the United States on one side of you and the major principles of government all around you?
Well, this is a great question to ask Donna, but I'll answer for Donna didn't know where I was. I had to leave and not explain, any of that. Although that's fairly routine in our business, it's not unheard of. What was a little less routine is that I didn't have my cell phone with me. I left it in the hotel room intentionally, and she was hitting me up a number of times that night. Where are you? Why aren't you answering? And frankly, until the picture came out, and it was my son that actually saw it, I think, on the internet first, and said, "Here's where her dad's at." So
your son calls up Donna,
right,
and says, "This is where Dad is," or
basically turn on the TV. You might want to look at the.
What did he say to you when he called you up?
I told you I was ABC.
And then what happens? You go back at 2:00 in the morning, or you probably can't sleep that night. You go back to your hotel room and you see all these missed calls and voice messages.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind at the time?
I went to bed.
But you probably had to be at the Pentagon probably first thing in the morning to debrief and to go over all of the aftermath with this.
Yeah, what happened was, of course, the mission actually went down around, I think it was 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon, Sunday in Washington. The president made the announcement very late. I think it was like 11:30 Eastern time on when he made the announcement.
But tell us the lag.
Yep.
Obviously, getting over the border, verifying the body it didn't seem that difficult. Why is this lag of basically 8 hours?
We still had to do the final disposition of the remains, which was carried out.
Mm-hmm.
There were a number of notifications that the principals had to do all over the world that had to go in a sequence that they had to notify world leaders literally all over the world. So all of this had to go down. That took any number of hours. We were doing, of course, the military actions that we needed to do. And then they how that time frame was arrived at, I guess, was when they were happy with how the press released. They were going to notify members of Congress.
Mm-hmm.
However, that was going to go down,
Mm-hmm.
and then he made the announcement. But I will tell you that what never entered my calculus, and I don't think anybody else there. I told you that we had quite a pizza party there, late that night. Was we could hear the din of noise that was happening out there, kind of on the lawn of the White House, just outside the gates. I use this expression, although I haven't experienced New York City much myself, but it was like Times Square on New Year's Eve. It was.
So you could hear this from the situation.
Oh yeah, and it was amazing. What on earth is going on out there? And then of course we looked at the TV and saw what was happening. In fact, I had to get Secret Service to give us a ride back to the hotel because we couldn't make it through the streets. I was dressed like this.
What time the next day do you roll into the tank in the Pentagon?
I actually went back to the White House the next day to help clean up what they call TikTok, which is the timeline of, hey, we want to verify all the time that everything happened. So I helped them with that. And
so what time are you at? So you must be at the White House crack of dawn.
Yeah, I was back. Well, I wasn't at crack of dawn, but I was probably there about 8:30 or 9 o'clock the next morning.
And when do you connect with? Admiral McGovern? When do you connect with him the following day?
I don't recall because our guys close and unlike the permanent presence that we have with special operations today, this mission was conducted in kind of classic fashion. As soon as that mission was over, they rolled up, they were airborne, headed back to the States. So he and the teams were back on the ground probably within 36 hours of that mission.
Were you able to meet with the SEALs right after this?
Not me personally, no.
Mm-hmm.